Burger was a lesser-known member of 600. He had no music releases, nor is he seen in many pictures. It seems that Burger was more of a low-key character than many of the others we've discussed, and yet, like many others in this story, he'd been involved in the gang life since a very young age, with his social media having photos of him all the way from late 2010 dropping Wise, although it's not clear if this was a diss towards 051 Young Money or another set, as according to some Chiracologists, Burger was a GD who was originally from an East Side set called Gotti World or AX13. However, Tay Capone would also rap in his popular song Red Light how Burger was in the trenches with him since way back in the day, and it seems that like Tay, Burger was another one of the youngsters that Lil Boo had brought into 600, but because of Burger's activities in the streets, he had also seemingly been in prison for the majority of the time that 600 were making a name for themselves in the drill scene. It seems now that Burger too was planning on capitalizing on 600's infamous reputation in the scene, posting on social media about his plans on hitting the studio and dropping music. But Burger was also still very much active in the streets, and seemingly even somewhat part of the infamous Get Back gang formed after the death of T-Roy, as well as engaging in day-to-day hustling and selling packs. Unfortunately, it seems that Burger's actions in the streets were putting him in an increasingly risky position, as he would post how he was scared for his family because of his actions, and how there was a target on anyone's head who was cool with him, and how he was acting recklessly because he was active in a city that he wasn't from, and how he was simply going to take the city over. Sadly, these posts would be foreshadowing of exactly what was about to happen, because in January 2018, he would be killed outside of Chicago, many miles from the feuds that 600 were involved in. On the 5th of January, shortly before 8 PM, Burger would make his last Facebook post, saying how he hated someone deeply. Less than an hour later, in Hammond, Indiana, a city about 20 miles southeast from 600's neighborhood, would find Burger, real name Shemaine Sargent, shot in the chest next to a stolen vehicle. People on Reddit would theorize about 600's ops being responsible for the killing, but soon after finding Burger's body, the Hammond police would arrest an 18-year-old local Hammond man as a suspect. Mimo 600 would later pay respects to Burger in his song Exposing Me, while in FBG Duck and Ruger's version of the song, many have understood Duck to be dissing Burger in a double entendre where he raps about flipping burgers. Besides the seemingly unrelated death of Burger, the war between 600 and their enemies would stay dormant for most of 2018. However, in October, the murder of one of MOB's top members would incite one of the fastest getbacks in history. Sadly, this same month, we would see one of the most high-profile mass shootings in Chicago history, with many indications that 600 might just have been involved. Dooski, or Dooski the Man, was a beloved member of MOB and had a history of being a top op to Black Disciple gangsters. One example is when Dooski allegedly beat up Lil Durk inside of a courthouse.
Is it true Dooski slapped Durk? Did that really happen?
Facts.
Those facts. Dooski really slapped Durk.
That's real facts. Smack the f out of Durk ass. This not no fun. I'm not lying. This ain't no cap. Smack out his ass. They both had the same court date. This was before all this jumped off on. He walked up to him. He asked him like, "You must be." He didn't even get the chance to say his whole name. Dooski went off on his ass. Poop pop, punched his ass up. Smack.
Damn, I swear, I never knew that. Damn.
Hell yeah. And I know that event. Shout out to them scrappers, folks.
So Dooski was gangster like that.
You say what, bro?
Dooski was gangster like that. He walking up slapping.
Man, Dooski get like that. He ain't the man. He don't call himself Dooski the Man for no reason, bro.
Following this incident, Dooski continued poking fun at Lil Durk and even posted a humorous meme of Durk switching sides following the beatdown. Dooski was also famous for being one of MOB's top artists alongside Ruger, and he'd been releasing music since at least 2011. He would also collab with other notable MOB members including Ruger, Scrap, and Buki, as well as with 600's ops from other sets like Wooski from STL and another Wooski from the low end from the Crew 757, who were also beefing with 600 due to being so close to their ops like MOB and 051. Dooski has also been dissing 600 and their alleged blocks since the beginning of his rap career.
Yeah, they not out here. Well, it's 27, well, 757, they is not outside. Oh, look.
In his song All We Know Is Kill from 2011 with another MOB member called Lil G, there are disses towards Brick City, 600, and their specific members like C-Day as well as Chief Keef. The featured Lil G raps using C-Day's real name, how he's going to put Lil Courtney in a box, and shots fired on the drive, 600, them dudes can't stay alive, a reference to Lil Steve, who was allegedly killed by MOB Scrap in 2011, which caused 600 to call their hood Steve Drive. The song also begins with a stern diss towards Brick City, or the Bricks, as they were also called, and ends with a clip of somebody shouting, 600K, we killin' them boys. After Chief Keef would drop his second hit song Love Sosa, Dooski the Man also dropped his own version of the song called Hate Sosa, where he imitates Chief Keef's lyrics from the song but changes them to diss Keef and his friends from 600 like D Rose. Ultimately, Dooski was a gifted rapper who could also do very lyrical and emotional songs when he wanted to, like in his tribute song to Scrap, where he details his heartbreak over the loss of his MOB brother. Unfortunately, this side of him was mostly overshadowed by just how deeply invested he was in the war in the streets, which in 2018 was still very much alive despite 600 seemingly laying low after their alleged activities parties the previous year with O-Block. Around this time, Dooski could often be seen on social media hanging around the Washington Park and Woodlawn area. Dooski and his friends like Wooski and FBG Duck would even go live while walking on the infamous 63rd Street, making them easy targets for any ops trying to find out their location.
You got this done.
Not a gonna come and strike down more beach. And we out here on the 6, ain't worried about none of that. 6-1.
Cheeto.
See all that.
Hold on, wait.
What do you see down there? What the we at? Now show me again. Let them know what the I'm at.
They want to talk, we don't want to talk.
What you doing, boy? You on live?
That's
How you
live.
Tell their ass they some
They be chewing.
chewing, bitch, you chewing.
Another day, Dooski would be on an Instagram live together with Wooski and several girls who were allegedly from 600 and THF 46's hoods. In this disrespectful video, the girls go seamlessly from swearing on dead 600 members like Lil Steve to rapping the lyrics of Wooski's Computers remix. Perhaps the most disrespectful diss ever made against 600 and their allies.
Oh, E.E. I'm a mother. Let's can I take another? What's this? I never cared. You a bop? You never cared. Is you a bop? I know. Is you a bop? Say you a bop right now. I'm a bop. Say I'm the best bop in Chicago, Illinois, bitch. Let's see y'all 30 days. Cause they love guns. And they play with guns. And they love guns. And they play with guns on Cheeto. On Cheeto. So y'all GDK. GDK.
She need the phone. I don't know where she on now. This tweaking on Cheeto. That's why we can't hoes, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, we with the oppos. These oppos on the shit.
BD, don't play with me on Steve. Don't play with me on
We just smoking all oppos. On Brad.
On Steve, don't do that.
On Brad.
On Steve, don't do that.
Hey, where y'all from? Italy. Y'all from 46, Steve Drive. All type of
I'm so BD, KCP,
No, you're not.
Fire, BK, what?
Who? My homie. I'll smoke you play with my homie on Brad. It's scrap. I'll smoke you.
Motherfucker, stand over your granny and FaceTime us.
Motherfucker in the grill. Yeah, for real. Oh, photo grill. Let's get y'all to put face photo got on the seal.
Well, it ain't me.
Why is y'all dissing y'all own dead homies though? What they do?
Dissing their own bitty homies, don't kill.
That GD.
It was activities like this that would make Dooski one of the prime targets for 600, and in late 2018, these antics would allegedly cost him his life. On the 8th of October, Just Blow and Cap 12 were allegedly with Front Street members in Front Street territory. Commenters on Reddit would theorize that these two were likely lurking during this time based on their clothing. That night, Cap would also make a cryptic tweet simply stating, "You deserve to get shot," followed by more similarly ambiguous tweets the next day, the last one being, "Shots fired, dude's panicking," around 1:45 p.m. Then, a few hours later, around 4 p.m, Dooski and a woman friend were in a parked car in the 5600 block of South Michigan Avenue, the heart of MOB's territory, when a car reportedly drove past them, opening fire, shooting at the car multiple times, and hitting both occupants. And the police would later find Dooski lying on a sidewalk, unresponsive, in a pool of blood, with gunshot wounds to his head and chest, ultimately later being pronounced dead, while the woman would fortunately survive with a gunshot wound to her ankle. It's believed amongst online detectives that Cap may have been responsible for this murder, or at least gave the drop on Dooski's location. This is because he was seen joining the Instagram live of MOB Lil Shan, where Dooski was present, allegedly around 15 minutes before the shooting. 600 members and their affiliates have dissed Dooski numerous times after his death, starting with Mimo, who would make a gleeful post about smoking a new op pack after hearing about the news. Later, Mimo would even troll by posting himself listening to and singing along to Dooski's music. Cap has also dissed Dooski several times on social media, including another strange tweet where he says, "Smoking Dooski, cause I know him," while Front Street member Lil Ant would literally be smoking on Dooski as he wrote Dooski's name alongside a bunch of dope. And King Von and Bezu would even get YNW Melly to diss Dooski during an Instagram live.
What you say? Tell him, Melly. The odds hate that. Hey, the odds hate that when y'all tweet on the odds. What you say, gang? Smoking that Dooski.
But most of this dissing would come much later, because in the immediate aftermath there was hardly time for rejoicing, because MOB's response would be one of the quickest in drill history, and in less than 24 hours, 600 would ultimately lose one of their own. Waldo, also known as Waldo 4.0, was another member lesser known to the public, but certainly not shy to represent his affiliation to 600. This can be seen by the huge 600 tattoo on his neck, and while he wasn't a common sight in 600's music videos, he can be seen in a few of them repping his set hard with the other members, such as in Inky D's music video for his Finito remix, where Waldo can be seen wearing the Legendary's Team 600 shirt, as well as in one of the music videos of the honorary 600 member King Von, where Waldo proudly displays his 600 neck tattoo. However, Waldo was seemingly one foot in and one foot out of the gang life, as he had apparently had not one, but two regular jobs. Yet he was also seemingly deeply invested in the war between 600 and their rivals, and would commonly post incredibly disrespectful memes about their dead ops on social media. And while we don't know too much about his actions in the streets beyond numerous arrests for mainly gun-related charges, it's safe to assume that 600's ops definitely knew who he was and who he was affiliated with. On the afternoon of the 10th of October 2018, Waldo was reportedly standing on the 300 block of East 63rd Street, which despite the number 63rd is considered to be primarily Front Street's territory. There, a blue 2018 Impala would reportedly pull up next to him and someone would let off shots, one of them hitting Waldo in the head, killing him on the scene. Unfortunately for Waldo's friends and family, someone would catch his lifeless body laying on the grass on Instagram Live. A police report posted to Reddit would reveal that witnesses had seen the car pull up, opening fire, and then fleeing the scene. In the eyes of many online detectives and drill fans, the killing of Waldo so soon after the death of Dooski adds weight to the theories that 600 did indeed kill Dooski. And while the police would struggle to find Waldo's killer, the ops of 600 would provide interesting clues about their possible involvement. Lil Sean from MOB may have accidentally revealed Dooski's location before his murder. They would go on live on Instagram shortly after the killing, showing numerous guns while asking his friends why his live was suddenly so popular.
Why my like this, bro? Why my lab busting like this, bro? What Dirt say? We get done, boy. My lab busting, bro. My lab busting like this. I ain't gonna put you in.
He would also post numerous stories where he would basically admit to being the shooter whilst tagging both Waldo and Dooski. Lil Sean would also release a Facebook text conversation he had with Waldo, seemingly taunting him and sharing his intentions of wanting to kill him, to which Waldo replied saying he doesn't go anywhere without his gun. Further incriminating himself, Lil Sean even went on Instagram Live after the shooting, boasting and toting guns, whilst another MOB member, Huncho, would laugh in the comments at how the Instagram Live was suddenly getting a lot of traction. Weirdly, Waldo's Instagram account would become active again a few days after his passing, with someone on the account engaging in DM arguments with ops such as Dooski from STL, with Dooski joking about the matter, saying, "You came back already?" While Waldo was more of an unknown member of 600 due to his relative inactivity on social media and in music, this doesn't mean he wasn't beloved by other members. After Waldo's funeral, Mimo600 would tweet how he kissed Waldo's forehead in his casket, which made him lose his mind. He would also post on Instagram a photo of him with a Waldo cutout and the caption, "Get back mode activated." Allegedly, Waldo was also Cap's closest friend, which is particularly tragic considering the rumors that he was responsible for the death of Dooski, which then allegedly led to the murder of Waldo. His Twitter activity in the days following the death of Waldo would show how Cap's mental state was being affected by his friend's murder. Whether these tweets simply show a man mourning the loss of his friend or a man feeling guilt for the loss of his friend is hard to determine, but in any case, if we're to believe the members of 600 themselves, it appears that Waldo's death caused more violent retributions. In Mimo's song Shoot Who featuring Lil Durk from 2023, Mimo implies that there was a get back for Waldo, but they're not even going to talk about it. Similarly, Blaster's ass, aka Blastum, would post an Instagram story with a photo of a cap that has a custom Waldo 4.0 embroidery on the side, together with text saying 4L and a black heart. This image would seem like an ordinary tribute, however Blastum chose to play a very specific snippet from Lil Durk's song Pellico over the image, where Durk raps insinuating that two people got killed as get back for the murder of his brother D-Thang, a clear implication being that Waldo's death was also avenged. Since there are no clear arrests or charges that could prove without a shadow of doubt what exactly the Get Back 600 members were referring to, much is left to the imagination of drill fans and true crime enthusiasts. But what is a fact is that what happened next would shock everybody, ultimately becoming one of the most infamous events in Chicago drill history. On Monday the 22nd of October, about 2 weeks after the murders of Dooski and Waldo, Dooski's funeral service was held at the Bethlehem Star Baptist Church, located on the far south side, right on the border of Chatham and the Burnside neighborhoods. About a year before the funeral, the church had received coverage on the local news when a 17-year-old boy was shot in the leg and another man was grazed by a bullet on the head right outside. Now, Dooski's friends and family had come out in droves to show support for their fallen friend, and in pictures posted on social media, many notable members can be seen in attendance, such as Dooski from STL, Fat Shorty from Jaro City, Montana from 051, and Nut from MOB. Sadly, this funeral being such a popular event gave their ops a prime opportunity to know exactly where they would be and catch them in a vulnerable position. Shortly after midday, at least one gunman would open fire on the churchgoers, many of whom were also armed. This started a chaotic shootout where bullets started flying everywhere.
Units in the area, current shots fired, 9227 untied. It's shooting at the funeral, X-ray 653. We got several people going 10 forward. Now we got 2 people shot, possibly 2 people shot.
Another person shot. 633
9-2 in Cottage. She's on 623.
60. Is the helicopter still up? No answer. 92nd in Cottage Grove. We got a victim over here.
6-3 squad. The funeral home is under control. They have one victim in there. Got a couple officers down there. The funeral home is under control.
And police say they heard a barrage of shots just after noon. They were coming from across the street at a funeral for a local musician known as Dooski was letting out. His real name is Van Treese Chris. He was killed by gunfire earlier this month. Witnesses today heard a couple of shots at first, apparently fired into the crowd. Then many more, several dozen more shots. Investigators have placed markers indicating where shell casings are located, but so far they have no one in custody.
When all was said and done, there were reportedly up to 50 shell casings from several different guns left at the scene, and 6 people were shot, all attendees of the funeral, while the perpetrators would flee the scene without a trace. One witness would describe them to the Chicago Tribune as 2 boys with big-ass guns. Out of the 6 people shot, only one would end up with a more serious injury, and that person would be none other than Dooski from STL, who received a gunshot wound to the head that put him in critical condition. Big Les, the father of MOB Scrap and Ruger, was actually inside the church when the shooting started, and he would later recall the events, explaining how Dooski had done his best to try and protect the other attendees, ultimately causing him to get hit.
Dooski, he'd break out the dope. Dooski break out, man, what the you know what I'm saying? He'd go out there, man, and we all on the inside. And Dooski go out there, man, they say he was goddamn it, you know, man, he was doing his thing out there, you feel me? Dooski was going crazy. I heard he had to take something from somebody else and do it. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody froze up. But they say Dooski went crazy, you feel me? But then that's how he winded up. Dooski winded up getting hit in the head, you feel me? And when the shooting stopped, everybody running like, damn, Dooski got shot. Dooski got hit in the head. Ooh. So, damn.
Fat Shorty, on the other hand, would write an angry post on Facebook about a week after the shooting, claiming that most of the damage was in fact done by people that were attending the funeral who were so bad at shooting that they actually ended up hitting people on their own side. Indeed, following the shooting, helicopter footage would capture the aftermath, showing that several attendees were seemingly being detained by police. This included Montana from 051 and a person who looked a lot like FPG Duck. Later that day on the 22nd, at around 4:30 p.m, Spot News, a Twitter account that follows police dispatch radio in Chicago, would tweet that around 10 shots had been fired at 6251 South Prairie, located near the Parkway Gardens, aka O Block. 1 hour after that, at around 5:30 p.m, police would execute an unrelated search warrant at an apartment in O Block, finding there a high-profile O Block member who had just recently begun gaining some traction in rapping that went by the name King Von. While the police were there to look for Von, they would find several guns, ammunition, and dope in the apartment, and they ended up taking him to the station to be questioned. While at the station, police would also contact the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, regarding the funeral shooting that had taken place earlier, which ATF special agents were investigating, as the police had information that the shooter may well have been from O Block. However, nothing seemingly came from this inquiry. The next day, the local news would report on how the police were trying to prevent a retaliation, with the report implying that the police were actively following the social media associated with the members of different sets that they believed were involved in this incident. The news would also give an update that Dooski, real name Marvel Williams, was in stable but serious condition following surgery. The morning after that, on the 24th of October, Capfuck12 would make an interesting tweet seemingly quoting a lyric from a Lil Durk song, Spin the Block, where he raps about riding around with a Draco, the very same gun that was used in the funeral shooting. That night, around 9 p.m, there would reportedly be another mass shooting, this time in the Washington Park neighborhood on the 6200 block of King Drive, near both 600's Hood and O Block, which would end up injuring 5 men, with 2 of them ending up in critical condition. However, only one of these victims was a young man in his 20s, while the others were actually older in their 40s. Nevertheless, a few days later, the Chicago Tribune would report that the police considered there to be a high probability that this shooting was related to the funeral shooting. On the 25th of October, 3 days after being momentarily arrested, Von would take to Twitter, posting a tweet that could be seen as a direct response to that funeral shooting, as he would announce that it was game over, we won. Based on these tweets, it was no surprise then that 600 and their allies were immediately considered to be the likely culprits behind the funeral attack. One person on Reddit would joke that they didn't know that Bitedown, who had allegedly shot up the funeral of Tutu in 2011, was out on parole, while another person would also note how this wouldn't be the first time 600 had shot up a funeral, while also noting how Just Blow had allegedly posted something on an Instagram story right after the shooting but had since deleted it. Also, Cap's suspicious tweet about riding around with a Draco was immediately noted by Reddit detectives. In the months and years following the shooting, 600 and their allies would keep dissing both Dooski and Dooski, and in December 2018, E-Day would drop his song 600 Dead Ops, a response to the song 51 Dead Ops by 051 Driller, where he raps about sliding through 600's Hood every day, dissing many of their top members, including LA Capone, Lil Boo, Stello, Baldy, Trix, Lil Steve, and Mimo 600, as well as Shaq and D-Thang. In his response, E-Day also takes shots at all of 600's ops, including Dooski, rapping how Dooski hasn't been the same since getting shot in the head and how they thought he was dead. Similar disses about thinking that Dooski was dead and him not being the same after being shot in the head have also been made by numerous other people affiliated with 600.
Nah, he ain't like that for real. Ain't that right, little bro? I'm my little brother Jiggy. Supposed to start rapping too. Nah, but for real, you know how they try to make all the ugly seem like they super tough, they super gangster cause he ugly and he got shot in his head, so now he's stupid slow, they think that's savage. That's ain't don't nobody get shot in the head, that's goofy. He a goofy. That's what I'm telling y'all. But y'all don't know that. Y'all just looking like Vaughn, a pretty boy. The whole time just be acting like this so y'all won't be super scared of me. See how y'all like me, y'all on my but I'll do something on y'all. I'm real gangster.
Also in December 2018, Mimo would seemingly tease a new remix to his popular song Exposing Me that he had dropped earlier that year, with new lyrics dissing both Dooski and Wooski. Mimo and other people affiliated with 600 have also commonly referred to Wooski as a dolphin, which is a reference to L.A. Capone's classic drill song Murder, where he raps, "Hole in his head, he a dolphin." However, all these disses toward Wooski make sense given the deep history between him and 600 and their allies. Already in 2013, Wooski would claim how he had done many hits on both The Wick, aka O-Block, and Bricks, aka Brick City, which includes 600. Also in 2013, Wooski would drop his first ever song, Dummy, with a cover art that shows Wooski dropping the 6 with 600K written on the front, together with BDK and F Lamron, as well as dissing both O-Block and 600 in the lyrics. This song was followed next year by his track Intro, where the dissing would continue, with Wooski even implying that his set STL, aka Tucaville, had been part of the hit that killed L.A. Capone a few months before. This was followed up in the same month, January 2014, with the song Dope, where the dissing of L.A. would continue, and after the arrest of Rondo and C-Day following the murder of Javon Boyd, Wooski would also participate in dissing Tay 600, calling him a snitch, and claiming he's responsible for Rondo and C-Day being locked up.
Tay 600. Shh. Keep your mouth closed, you snitch ass. You just got your mans in them all them years. You can't even go back to your own block. Oh, Lil B, I'll smack the out your ass. Come out, dude. Yeah. I ain't even gotta talk, man. Know how I'm coming. All that, man. Where's you at with it? Oh, you ass 600. Yeah, I'ma always be up. Y'all dead, homies. You talking about? All that there on Cheeto. Black gang, dumb. Man, look. On Sugar, man, stop opening y'all mouth. Y'all want to link up, y'all already know to hit my line. And none of this police ass. Man, you on Sugar, I get down on. Oh, Cheeto. It's about.
Mimo had also had a special reason to hate Wooski, who had even made a song with FBG Cash titled Mimo in 2018, where they would seemingly take shots at him and even his father, who was a known character on the South Side. King Von also had good reasons to hate on Wooski, as the two had been beefing with each other since at least 2012, often going back and forth on Twitter, even arguing about who would ultimately live longer. But when it comes to direct hints that 600 and their allies may have actually been behind the funeral shooting, there are less examples. One such hint would come in January 2019, when Mimo dropped a new song and music video titled Hang Wit, where he raps the line, "Hole in his head, that's get back for 4-0, followed by an ad-lib, Wooski," seemingly implying that the funeral shooting was a direct get back for the murder of Waldo, aka 4.0. King Von, on the other hand, would rap in his song GTA the line, "Who shot Wooski? How would I know?" which then continues directly to the chorus that starts with him saying, "You know I know," clearly implying that he does indeed know who shot Wooski. Overall, there's mixed opinions online whether O-Block and 600 were even involved in the funeral shooting, as many have argued that it was actually the nearby set 800 who were actually behind it. 800 is a set of primarily Mickey Cobras, whose main block has been around 61st and Cottage Grove. But over the years, this block has been gentrified and many of the original members have actually moved out. 800 have a long-lasting beef with STL, EBT, and MOB dating all the way back to 2012, and just like O-Block and 600, 800 have referenced the funeral shooting numerous times. One of the members who's most directly claimed responsibility for the shooting is a member known as 800 Fats. In his song Do Some, Fats raps, "You know I'm gripping on my toolie, run up on him, have him looking like Wooski, slide to the funeral and shoot us a movie." In another song titled Head Tap, Fats continues on the topic, rapping, "Up the Glock, quick head tap, now he looking Wooski slow." However, while Fats has seemingly always had a fairly short hair, the police dispatch radio recordings from the day of the incident label all the suspects as having long dreads.
We were looking for a green camera with 4 male black occupants in the area of 91st and Cottage. They also mentioned either blue Blazer or a blue minivan. Person pulled us over, said they driving a little camera. It's 4 people inside the car. They cutting through the alley. They all got little short dreads. There's a Draco gun. They seen them pulling it out the car.
Therefore, Chiracologists have speculated that maybe another 800 member called TJ might well have carried out the shooting, as he better matches the description. At this point though, over 5 years after the shooting, it seems that we might never definitively find out who really did it. But regardless, 2018 proved to be yet another tragic year for 600, losing adding 2 more members to the ruthless streets of Chicago. However, time and time again, 600 would prove their ability to rise up again despite facing extreme adversity. Coming into 2019, they would do it once again, this time with the help of Lil Durk's OTF label, which was starting to become a powerhouse in the rap game, not least thanks to their top new rapper King Von, who would make his breakthrough in late 2018 and early 2019 with his first hit song, Crazy Story.